The text came while I was arranging new stock in my boutique. My hands didn't shake, my voice didn't waver. I'm leaving you and moving to Miami with my 22-year-old girlfriend. I've emptied our joint account. Huh. I paused, letting it sink in while a customer browsed scarves. The only sign that my husband of 10 years had just nuked our marriage was a slight tightening around my eyes. I waited until Mrs. Peterson left before typing a response. Good luck. My name is Eliza, and at 36 I had just received the cruelest goodbye imaginable. The signs had been there for months. Late nights at the office that didn't match his deposits, the sudden obsession with the gym, new clothes bought for someone else. 3 months ago, I'd found a dinner receipt for 2 on a night he claimed to be working late. That same evening, I opened a separate bank account. A week later, when he suggested combining accounts, I cheerfully agreed, moving my personal savings there. The joint account he just emptied contained only enough to avoid suspicion. The rest, along with meticulous records of his suspicious transactions, was safe. Another text buzzed. Don't bother begging, Melissa and I leave tomorrow. I'll send for my things later. Melissa! The receptionist, 22, laughing too loud at his jokes, touching his arm when she thought no one noticed. I didn't respond. Instead, I called my lawyer. It's time, I said. The papers were ready. Do you want me to serve him in Miami? She asked. No rush. Let him think he's won. Texts kept coming. I know this must be hard. At least you have your little shop to keep busy. My little shop, the boutique I built from scratch, generating more income than his middle management job. I smiled, thinking of the certified letters that would greet him in Miami. That evening, I sorted the paperwork for my lawyer, finding our wedding album. Mark looked different before his midlife crisis made him someone else entirely. Shirts too tight, trying to recapture youth with ridiculous slang. His texts were relentless, each more condescending. Melissa understands me in ways you never could, he bragged. I screenshotted each one, adding them to my evidence folder. Let him dig his own hole. The last one caught my attention. By the way, I used the joint card for our flights and hotel. Consider it my parting gift. LOL. Perfect. I called the credit card company immediately, reporting fraud and canceling the card. By tomorrow, Mark and Melissa would find their Miami plans canceled. Let him enjoy his illusion of victory. Morning arrived with a flurry of texts from Mark. What did you do to our credit card? The airline won't honor our tickets. The hotel canceled our reservation. I silenced my phone and headed to the boutique. Friday was our busiest day, and a new shipment of designer handbags had just arrived. Life went on, even while my husband ran off with a receptionist young enough to be his daughter. Around noon, his mother called. Dear Eliza, Mark says you're being vindictive. I put her on speaker, calmly reading his messages aloud, including his confession about emptying the joint account. Silence. Then I see. Well, I have to go, she said. By late afternoon, gossip had spread. Mark and Melissa were stuck at a budget motel near the airport, their Miami dreams derailed. He had maxed out personal credit cards months ago, another warning I had quietly noticed. My lawyer called with updates. The emergency hearing was scheduled for Monday. With Mark's admissions and my meticulous records, we had a strong case to freeze all remaining assets. Each of Melissa's social media posts became more evidence, documenting the reckless adventure she had shared online. Monday arrived. Mark appeared in designer jeans too tight, a blazer screaming midlife crisis, while Melissa waited outside, painfully obvious under the harsh courthouse lighting. My lawyer presented the evidence methodically, his text bragging about emptying the account, credit card fraud, hidden expenditures. The judge reviewed deeds, business documents, and separate finances. Mark's confidence waned as reality sank in. He assumed this would be easy, that running off with his girlfriend and emptying our accounts would give him leverage. Mr. Harrison, the judge said, you admitted via text to deliberately emptying a joint account and using shared credit cards. Do you deny this? Mark shifted uncomfortably. I was just trying to make a clean break. The judge's raised eyebrow silenced him. Separate property documentation, boutique records, and my careful bookkeeping all proved ownership and prudence. Mark's attempts to claim half my business were dismissed. He had ignored the boundaries I had maintained for years. Outside the courthouse, Melissa whispered about Miami plans, but I walked confidently toward my boutique. Weeks of desperation followed for Mark. False claims of partnership, attempts to invalidate the divorce, social media mishaps. My business thrived, ironically boosted by local curiosity and gossip. Customers came specifically to show support, often leaving with more than they planned to buy. Mark's mother and sister realized the truth. His reckless behavior had consequences, and he had underestimated me. I felt pride, not revenge. The boutique was more than a store. It was proof of foresight, resilience, and quiet strength. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, my boutique had expanded to a second location. The irony wasn't lost on me. Mark struggled to rebuild his life while the little shop he had mocked thrived. I had hired 3 new employees and launched an online store gaining traction nationally. News of Mark's situation trickled back through mutual acquaintances. Younger women steered clear. HR investigated his relationships with subordinates, and promotions he had expected went to others. Amanda, his sister, admitted she had misjudged me. "You handled everything better than we imagined," she said, picking up a silk scarf. I smiled, thinking of how thoroughly Mark had underestimated me. My lawyer kept me updated on Mark's continued attempts to challenge the divorce settlement. Each petition was denied. He even argued that the text about emptying the joint account was a joke. The judge dismissed it immediately. Meanwhile, my boutique success became a story of inspiration. Young entrepreneurs came seeking advice about separating business and personal finances. Trust your instincts. Protection isn't paranoia, I told one woman who reminded me of Melissa. My life moved forward. Third boutique plans, luxury accessories expansion, and continued documentation of Mark's futile efforts. The lessons weren't just legal, they were life lessons. Mark's mother called occasionally, worried after yet another self-destructive choice. Online gambling, pyramid schemes, reckless investments. I listened politely, maintaining distance. Their family drama was no longer my concern. Instead, I focused on the boutique, new shipments, high-end collaborations, and training programs for employees. Each success felt like quiet vindication. The framed screenshot of Mark's final text remained in my office, not as a reminder of cruelty, but as proof of foresight. Below it hung my latest business award. The phrase, "success is the best revenge," had never felt more accurate. 1 year later, the grand opening of my third boutique location drew local media attention. The story wasn't about a failed marriage, but about a savvy businesswoman expanding her brand. Melissa surprisingly visited. "You inspired me," she admitted. Her own social media consulting business was thriving. I explained the difference between dreams and escapes, reminding her that building something lasting required foresight and resilience. Even after betrayal, life offered lessons, and sometimes unexpected mentorship opportunities. 5 years after the original boutique opened, I stood before employees and loyal customers at a flagship anniversary event. My empire had grown from one little shop to 5 thriving locations. Mark's mother attended uninvited and whispered a truth I already knew. He threw it all away. You taught him a lesson he needed. I reflected on how his cruelty had inadvertently strengthened me. Each new boutique represented resilience, preparation, and independence. My reflection in the store window showed what Mark had failed to see. Not a woman defeated, but a woman wiser, stronger, and undeniably successful. My past betrayal had become a foundation for triumph. 2 years after Mark's betrayal, I received an invitation to speak at a women's business conference. The topic wasn't divorce or betrayal, It was building and protecting a successful business. My story had evolved from a cautionary tale to inspiration. During the Q&A, a woman asked about keeping business and personal finances separate. I smiled knowingly. Right up until my ex tried to claim half my business, I thought I was just being cautious. Trust your instincts. Protection isn't paranoia. Each question reminded me that my journey had become more than personal. It was now a blueprint for others, proof that foresight and preparation could turn adversity into triumph. News of Mark's continued struggles reached me through mutual friends. He had finally moved out of his parents' house into a cramped apartment. His career stalled. Dating life stalled. Melissa, ironically, became a regular customer at my original boutique. She had earned her business degree and started her social media consulting company. "You inspired me," she admitted again, showing how resilience and self-determination could ripple outward. I realized then that the consequences of Mark's arrogance weren't just mine. They extended to everyone who had underestimated me, turning my victory into a quiet lesson in empowerment. At my office, framed in a prominent spot, remained Mark's final cruel text. Below it hung the sign, "Success is the best revenge." Every time I glanced at it, I remembered the careful planning, the months of observation, the legal foresight. My empire had grown to 5 locations and counting, each a testament to preparation and determination. The boutique was no longer just a business. It was a symbol of independence, resilience, and triumph over underestimation. The irony wasn't lost on me. The man who had mocked my age, belittled my work, and assumed I would crumble had inadvertently built the very foundation of my story of empowerment. At the 5-year anniversary of my original boutique, I addressed employees and loyal customers, the flagship store bustling with energy. Mark's mother approached afterward. "You showed our family the difference between supporting someone and enabling them," she said. I nodded, reflecting on how far I had come. Each new boutique, each successful employee, each recognition from local media reinforced the lesson. Betrayal can't stop foresight, diligence, and courage. My past hardships had become the blueprint for the life I now controlled. One built not on dependence, but on strategy, strength, and resilience. Finally, I allowed myself to savor the long-term victory. The boutique empire thrived, Melissa had launched her business, and Mark remained a cautionary tale, powerless in his own mismanagement. I no longer needed reminders of the betrayal. They existed only as proof of how far I had come. My reflection in the store window, the awards on my walls, and the thriving business confirmed it. Success wasn't just about revenge. It was about mastery over one's life. For every woman who had ever been underestimated, dismissed, or belittled, my story was living proof that the best revenge is thriving beyond expectation. My chapter with Mark had ended, but my story of independence, preparation, and triumph continued, brighter and stronger than ever.